never experienced anything like that, no, and never will, hopefully, ever again.
That's something you see on TV, not what happens here.
But I looked out there and I said, this could be where I die. It was very humbling.
We knew it was going to flood. We was not expecting what happened, by all means. We woke up that morning, had a phone call with the sheriff. I was watching the weather, he was watching the weather.
Drove in front of the prison, I noticed that the water levels were already higher than I'd ever seen them.
Got on the road, headed home, and I got home probably around 10 that night, and I noticed water in places that it really shouldn't be.
We were going to do special patrols because we knew that water was going to be flooding in some areas.
The rain just continuing, ditches are starting to fill.
Small rescues here and there with the water rising that normally rises in certain areas.
Of course, the water went higher than anybody anticipated.
I rode through the subdivision and I said, dear God, I am not in this alone.
It was basically just an all-out effort of every employee that we had. We called everyone out.
I would push the people in the wheelchair in about knee-high deep water across the highway into the actual parking lot where we were getting them assist.
We had a little older couple on chairs in the canoe. It was real, wobbly. Come around the corner, the current is so strong, we're actually having to grab the fence to pull ourselves. We got the canoe, we're holding the canoe, me and my son, and to keep it stable, and we're grabbing the fence and pulling ourselves down the fence to try to get up to the main Range Avenue where we can drop them off.
It never was a decision, it was just automatic. We have got to get people out of this community here because people will die here tonight if something doesn't happen. Went to places where people were were asleep, knocking on doors, waking them up.
I actually had to turn around because the water was coming up above the headlights of my truck. And people were just jumping on to my truck at that time and, of course, lowering my truck. And we just had to get out of the water as quickly as we could.
We got stuck for a little over 30 hours. Then we had no food, there was no restrooms to use. A juvenile male, he was probably about 12 years old, if I had to guess. He was with his family, and he started actually dehydrating because they didn't have any water. And he started vomiting, just continuously vomiting over and over. And we actually got him on back the truck and was able to get him and his family out.
I had went to a lady's house whom was paraplegic. She was hoisted up above her bed and above the water, and the hoist, the bottom of the hoist was is where the water level was. So we was able to make it to her and get her to safety. It was very dangerous. We were walking through 4.5 feet of water, and what touched me on that was she told me that she was praying that somebody would come and help her, and she said that we were her angels on that day.
The place we're going to is going to be in the most dangerous, most treacherous, most deadly potential area of the whole flood. We heard a voice from inside that house. I said, no way somebody's in that attic trapped in there. It was, somebody was in there. We got the boat positioned so that the strong currents of the water would push the boat up against the house because we didn't have anywhere to tie it off. We got out and walked on the roof, and I could hear and see a man standing there, and he was probably up to here with water and a little small opening, not really big enough for a person to get through. He had his stepson and his wife in there, so we were able to force them through this small hole that was not designed for a person up in the gable of a house.
Everybody helped each other. There was people in boats, just regular civilians helping get people out. We would have never gotten everybody out of all the neighborhoods without everybody helping.
Water was starting to come to the 911 center. He said, it's bad, y'all need to get over here now. So we go over there and we have dispatchers taking calls nonstop with water halfway up their legs. At that point we realized we're not going to save this place. The water is just coming up too fast. So, which has never been done before, had to move the entire communications center to EOC. Completely took everything from the 911 center and transferred it over there and got us up and running in less than an hour.
The prison had 18 inches of water in it. We were pushing the inmates through the facility by housing units. We were able to secure them 2 by 2 and then actually move them out to a exterior door where we literally weighted them, escorted them through floodwater to a bus that was down the street. So we were in water. Most of them was up to their belly buttons in water. Everything that we had rehearsed and planned and worked so hard to get ready for that we never wanted to use, it all fell into play that day.
When I made it back, 30 minutes later, water was running through my house.
And by the time we left there, around 5 p.m., water was going in my back door.
I was by now almost chest deep water, and I look over on my porch, and the water's, the steps are disappeared, and my wife is standing there with her hands on her hip, and she's like, "We need to get out now."
When Hurricane Katrina, the water was over the roof in my house. I wasn't able to save anything. I saved one picture book that was in the middle of a picture books. I had a stack of them, and it was actually the one in the middle was saved, and that one actually got flooded this time. But everything was lost the first time. There was, like I told my husband, there's nothing we can't replace again.
It was really personal that these people are working for the parish and for him, and they're not worried about their own good, and they're themselves. They're worried about trying to take care of the parish.
You come back because it's what you do. You continue to do what you do because it's what you know.
So when I signed up for this, I knew it's what I had to do and how I had to act.
Well, I think all the training that I've had over the years in law enforcement came into play there. There's certain things that I look back after I've done them, I said, I never made a conscious decision to do that. It was kind of like an automatic thing. That's just what you do.
To find out that you have that many employees that work for you that don't have a home that flooded, it really hurt him.
He would get with me and, seeing who was flooded, how bad their homes are flooded, and what their families were in need of.
Sheriff Ord came to us, to the deputies that had flooded, and he said, "I'm going to take care of y'all."
The sheriff made it easier for us to continue to work because he took the stress off of us of having to find somewhere to go.
He gave us a place to live.
He secured hotel rooms for everyone. Then he started working on finding better housing for us, which he did with the trailer park.
I think he went overboard helping his people. Not only helping his people, you help the community, and that means a lot. He did more than a lot of people would ever believe that he did.
And that just goes to show you what kind of man he is, a man of good character and a godly man. And the love that he showed myself and my family and my fellow deputies was something that I'll never forget, never.
Well, it shows that we have a sheriff that cares about us. It wasn't about him. It was about the people that work for him and that work for this parish.
We're a family here.
You can't get too much better than here. No brag, just bags.